boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So, man, I wake up this Monday morning and I see it's a lot of talks out there about Bob Arum saying that the only PBC fighter that he's interested in putting Terrence Crawford against is Errol Spence Jr. Now, my opinion on that may be different from a lot of other guys, but me, the way I look at it is, this is just my assumption. Obviously, I don't know what's going on in Bob Arum's head, and unless we've had an exclusive interview and Bob Arum has been 100% honest, no one else really knows either. But it's not, it's no secret that Errol Spence Jr. is being ducked by the PBC fighters. That being Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and Keith Thurman. Now, I look at it like this. Bob Arum is on the other side of the street, quote, put those in quotations. He's on the other side of the street, and he's observing what's going on within the PBC. Now, Bob Arum may look at it like, well, if this Sean Porter guy, if this Keith Thurman guy, if this Danny Garcia guy, if they're not willing to do whatever they need to do to face Errol Spence at this current moment in time, why even waste our time being top ranked, ESPN, why even waste our time trying to make a fight with these guys? They're not trying to unify with a person that's on their side of the street. They have the same management / advisory, or they with the same network. Why waste our time? Now, if that's the perspective that Bob Arum is looking at everything from, I understand 100%. At that point, it makes perfect sense why Bob Arum made that statement. Like, they're not worthy. Terrence Crawford is the type of guy that he is willing to get in the ring and he's willing to face anyone. He believes he's the best. He has a dog in him. He has the confidence. He has the heart. We know this. Same thing goes for Errol Spence. So, when it comes to the Sean Porters of the world, when it comes to the Keith Thurmans of the world, when it comes to the Danny Garcias of the world, they're on a lower tier. They're on a lower tier not necessarily because of their abilities, but their willingness and their heart. Like, it's not there. Keith Thurman's been injured for an extended period of time. Sean Porter, he says one thing to the media and then he says another thing to the fans. So it's just like, I look at it as simple. Why waste your time? Now, the issue comes in with all of this is Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford calling each other out. That's the issue. It's just like, we understand that promoters and fighters, their tone, it tends to change after certain events take place. After a guy, he's exposed or he appears to be vulnerable, whatever the case may be, then people tend to shift on their talking points from previous interviews and previous conversations. So Sean Porter, and let's just say Sean Porter, for example, his willingness to fight may change later on down the line depending on what happens. He may not have anyone else to fight. Showtime may be looking for a pay-per-view, and the only way for Sean Porter to even have that fight, he has to have some opposition of that level or that caliber. But my issue comes with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence because they're doing the same exact thing. And, Errol Spence, if you're not aware, Errol Spence, he is my favorite fighter. But I can't deny the facts. Errol Spence has not clearly and directly called out Terrence Crawford, and Crawford has not clearly and directly called out Errol Spence. That's the issue. Now, until that issue is addressed, and by address I mean they mutually call out one another, very direct statements. Errol Spence, I want to fight you next. Terrence Crawford, I want to fight you next. I'm going to beat your ass. No, I'm going to beat your ass. If that's not the conversation being had, we're going to continue to have these conversations on YouTube, through the boxing media, about all the ifs, ands, or buts. I believe this, I believe that. These two guys, literally at this moment in time, it's currently 6:42 a.m. on the East Coast. These two guys can wake up right now, and one could tweet, "I want Errol Spence next." Get on his Instagram, make a video. "I want Errol Spence next," and Errol Spence could do the same thing for Terrence Crawford. Put a tweet out, "I want Terrence Crawford next." Make a video, "I want Crawford next." Plain and simple. This conversation has ended. Something that literally takes less than 5 minutes of their time could end all of this. But it's not happening. I mean, obviously it's not happening because the guys, they mutually do not want to fight now. Now, I guess it's a new situation, I guess, when it comes to fighters, because it's possible for two fighters not to want to fight one another at a certain point in time, and they're not ducking one another. They're just stalling. Now the fans, we don't want that bullshit. We want to fight now. We want both of these fighters to talk like they want to fight now, and we want them to give us, being the fans, what we want to see. Plain and simple. I'm going to hold Crawford to the same standard that I hold Spence, and I'm going to hold Spence to the same standard that I hold Crawford. Until one man calls out another one directly, whereas it's nothing that's left up for interpretation. The words aren't coming out of a trainer's or a promoter's or a manager's mouth. Until Errol Spence fixes his lips to say he wants Crawford next, and until Crawford fixes his lips to say he wants Spence next, I gotta hold him to the same standard. These two guys, they're not giving the fans what they want to see. We want to see the best fight the best, and I really don't care about the Bob Arum comment, because when it comes to the likes of Sean Porter and the other guys, because they're not the best. We've been saying this for how long? They're not the best. We know they're not. So why even worry about them right now? Now, even though it seems like the whole thing of, well, one guy, if he calls him out, the other guy's ducking. Hey man, even if that's the case, let's just say next week, and then Terrence Crawford calls out Errol Spence directly, and Errol Spence doesn't respond. The only thing that does for Terrence Crawford is put him in he's winning the battle of public opinion when it comes to this fight. That's it. That doesn't give us the fight. It'll take both of these guys openly making it known that they want to fight one another. And it sucks because we have to wait around. Like, if you're a Bud Crawford fan, if you're an Errol Spence fan, if you're a fan of both, or you're a fan of neither, we know that they're the top fighters, plain and simple. And it's just one of them things where we have to wait around. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is right now. But nobody should be online beefing, getting in arguments about who wants to fight who and who's ducking who, because at this moment in time, they doing the same shit. They're taking the fans for a ride, and hey man, they need to be put on blast. They need to be put on blast by every single boxing fan. I don't care if you on one side of the fence or another side of the fence. We should all have a mutual understanding of what we want from our fighters. And if we want Spence and Crawford to fight one another, it's not gonna help. We're not gonna benefit from going at each other saying one man is ducking the next, because that's not gonna make the fight happen. But constantly pounding them equally, pounding them, basically saying, Crawford, call out Spence. Spence, call out Crawford. We want to fight. We don't want to see you fight anyone else. And we start making it known in the numbers of their viewership, that's when we'll see change. Until then, it's just talk. And if that's what y'all are okay with, just the battle of public opinion on YouTube about who's ducking who, then that's what we're going to get. Until then, we're not going to have a fight. It's Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm out.